right, so this is the poetry contest. No, whoops. This is a poetry contest video tutorial. So if you chose the option where you would write a unique poem and enter it in a contest for today's lesson, then this video will show you how to do that. Okay, so we're going to follow the steps on Google Classroom, and I will show you what you're going to do. Sorry. Okay. So first you watched the opening video and then you selected your task, and I'm assuming you selected the poetry contest task if you're watching this video. So if you are doing that, then you would watch this video, step 3, and then using guidance from the video, you're going to complete your own unique writing, and this would be the poem. Once you complete your poem, you're going to submit your poetry contest entry via the American Library of Poetry website. With step 4, I'm going to show you, I gave you a little help. So attached to the assignment, there's a PowerPoint called Types of Poetry, and this might give you an idea of what kind of poem you could write for this contest. Also pay attention to on the assignment, it gives you a rubric for the assignment. So the poetry contest rubric, 20 points that you've somehow shared your creation with me, which would be when you're writing your poem, you do it on a document and you share it with me. And 20 points would be that your creation shows time, effort, consideration, and care. 20 points is that it is 20 lines or less. So the contest really doesn't have many rules, except that your poem has to be 20 lines or less, and your poem also needs to have appropriate language. So you can't use inappropriate language in the poem. You get 20 more points on my rubric for creating something that is proofread and has little to no grammatical errors. And then I also need a screenshot that shows that you actually submitted it to the contest. So what you're going to attach to this assignment to get all of your credits is the rough draft where you typed it on a document that's shared with me, and the screenshot that shows you submitted it to the contest. And then the other things I'll grade by looking at what you submitted. So when you're deciding what kind of poem you want to write, you could use this PowerPoint to help you, and you can do your own research too. So you're welcome to write any kind of poem you want. It just needs to be less than 20 lines. Here are some common types of poems. So a limerick. A limerick poem is a humorous 5-line poem, so it's usually poking fun at someone or making fun of someone. It follows a specific rhyme scheme, which means the first 2 lines rhyme, and those lines also rhyme with the 5th line, and then the 3rd and 4th lines rhyme. So look at the example. There was an old man with a beard who said, "It was just as I feared. 2 owls and a hen, 4 larks and a wren have all built their nests, my beard." Haha. Notice how the rhyme scheme is maintained, which is the classic form of a limerick. You can write a haiku. A haiku is a nice 3-line poem. It's Japanese. It doesn't have a rhyme scheme, but it has a syllable count, so it has a particular meter that it uses. The first line always has 5 syllables, the second line 7, and the last line 5. And usually the poem's about nature. This is an example of a poem one of my students wrote 2 years ago in my class, and they wrote about spring. The next type is a cinquain, and a cinquain poem is, it's 5 lines. It doesn't need a rhyme, but it's arranged in a special way. So in the first line, you would give like a topic or a one-word topic. The second line would be 2 adjectives that describe the topic. The third line would be 3 ing verbs that describe the topic or go with the topic. The fourth line would be a phrase that captures the feeling about the topic. And then the last line is more specific. So it takes the topic and makes it more specific. So this one's about Saturn, but notice how it's general in the beginning. It just says planet. has 2 adjectives. It has the 3 ing words that describe what Saturn would do. It describes a feeling about Saturn, that it would dance with its neighbor Jupiter. And then it gets really specific about what they're writing about, which is Saturn. Free verse means there's no rules. You can write whatever you want. Again, just make sure that it's less than 20 lines and that it uses appropriate language. Here's an example by Walt Whitman. It's called A Noiseless Patient Spider. You can also write a rhymed poem. So it would, it follows a rhyme scheme made up by the poet. So you would make your own rhyme scheme, you would execute it, and you would write your little poem. This one is, didn't copyright, hold on. Okay, so The Life of a Cupcake, and the author made up their own rhyme scheme. And so you can see that they did like A, B, C, D, E, F. And so you could make up your own rhyme scheme and write a rhymed poem. A Shakespearean sonnet. So after we do our research paper, we're going to study Shakespeare. There are a lot of rules that go with the Shakespearean sonnet, but you could absolutely write one for this poetry contest because it's only 14 lines. It uses iambic pentameter, so that would mean it has 10 syllables for each line. It also follows a special rhyme scheme, and that would be A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. And usually it kind of goes like a story. So the first stanza introduces a problem, the problem gets worse in the second stanza, the third stanza shows the conflict or the pinnacle of the problem, and then the last 2 lines show the resolution. And a stanza is like a paragraph for a poem. So there are 1, 2, 3 stanzas and a 4th rhyming couplet in a Shakespearean sonnet. An ode, you could write an ode, which would be a lyrical poem that celebrates a person, place, or thing, or an idea. It usually has a very serious tone, but it doesn't need to be long. And so there's an example of an ode to the west wind. And then the last one that you're not going to be able to do because it's just too long is the type of poem that we've read already this year, which is an epic. And that was like the poetry that we read in the Odyssey. But your poem needs to be less than 20 lines, so you're probably not going to write an epic poem. Okay, so you write your poem. I would do it on a document. So here's an example of a poem that one of my students wrote in the past. And she wrote it on the document first and shared it with me and attached it to Google Classroom. And it's just taking a while. There it is. She's got a title and she's got her poem. And this is a free verse poem. And so then what you would do, the next step would be to submit it. So you were going to click on this link. And I just opened it so that it would be a little quicker. And this is going to bring you to the American Library of Poetry website. And you're going to, first off, if you enter this, you could win $500. How many years ago? I had a student who won in 2015, I think. So you can win. It does happen. You would click enter the contest online. And then it's going to give you the official rules of the contest, etc. And then you're going to enter your information. So you need to put your name, your first name, your last name, your mailing address. Please don't put the school address because they're going to send you information, particularly if you do really well, like they'll publish you in a book and they're going to send you that confirmation in the mail. So don't do it to the school because no one will be at the school to get the mail. The city, Providence, that's New Jersey, zip code, your email, put your email again, the name of your school, my name, my email, your grade, then you put your poem's title, and then you put your poem. So if I was doing this for my student, her name is Brianna. Her last name starts with an E. I would put the full last name in. I would put in her address. I would put in that she was from Passaic. I would put in that she was from New Jersey. Blah, blah, blah. Right, so I'm going to fill everything in for myself. And then I would fill in, my name, my email, your grade would be 9. You would have to put your email in. We put Haddon Heights High School. And then the poem title. So her poem title was The Second Side to Love. And then the poem would go in underneath. All right. Now she's all set. You would then make sure that you submit it. And this is the part I can't do because the student has already submitted this poem, and I can't submit a poem because I'm not a student. But once you hit submit, it's going to come up with a confirmation page that says like, thank you for your submission, or, when you get that confirmation page, you're going to click with 2 fingers on your mouse pad, and you're going to click print. And you're not going to print it anywhere. You're going to save it as a PDF. And I'm going to get rid of myself so I can show you how to do this. So then you click save. And you're going to put your name. So this was Brianna was doing this. Poetry entry confirmation. And you're going to save that as a PDF. And then you're going to go back to Google Classroom, and I want you to attach your Google Docs version of your poem so I could see your poem and the PDF. So you should make 2 attachments when you hand this in.